Well, joining us this morning, our friends from Titusville Area Hospital, Barb, Bromley, and special guest, Brittany, Grimm. Good morning, ladies. How are you today?
Good morning. Just fine, thank you.
Welcome, welcome. Boy, lots going on, Barb.
Yes, there is.
We're going to cover quite a bit happening at the Titusville Area Hospital. And Brittany, you're going to be talking about something that's also very important to not just to you, but to lots of folks. And I think the information is going to be information we've heard before, but I don't think for a lot of people it really hits home with them. And maybe your story can help with that this morning. So thank you for coming in and talking with us.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Well, Barb, where would you like to start?
Well, I think the reason that we are here today is all month. April is Donate Life Month, and Titusville Area Hospital has been participating in Donate Life Month in an effort to promote and educate individuals regarding organ donation. And Titusville Area Hospital works with CORE, the Center for Organ Recovery and Education, and we are required to participate with an organization like that in an effort to obtain organs for recovery, for transplant, for individuals who are requiring them. There's a very lengthy waiting list for organs. So April is National Organ Donation Month, and then we are, like I said, just working to educate individuals and let them know where they can reach out. And Brittany has a very personal story related to organ donation that I think a lot of people don't have a personal connection with, as you said. And with so many individuals waiting for organs, one of the statistics that's in the records is 95% of people support organ donation, but only 43% sign up to be an organ donor. Wow. So we are hoping to increase those numbers and encourage people to sign up to be organ donors.
That's like, if you think about it, 1 second of your life could change somebody else's life, several other people's lives.
Yes, it could. Yes, it could.
So when you're checking that box or thinking about it, what should you be thinking about? What would convince somebody to check that or to take time to actually think about that decision?
I think it's the fact that you can help so many other people, and it's a very difficult time. So you should think about what you can do if you find yourself in a situation where you can help somebody. Wouldn't you want to help somebody? And so checking that box, either on your driver's license or on the National Registry, promotes that organ donation. And one of the things that I think needs to be brought home is that individuals that want to be organ donors need to share that very explicitly with their family members, because at a tragic time, that's one of the things that families grapple with. They don't know what to do sometimes. And if an individual has not, been very, very strong in their opinion to their family, this is what I really want to do. So it's an easy decision because at that time you don't want to have families make hard decisions. So you need to share with your family what your decisions are and why. And you can help. One donor can reach out and touch 8 lives, wow. 8 lives with a number of organs and tissue and things that can be donated. So,
what if somebody has checked that box, or I guess not checked it, or decided not to become an organ donor, but a month later, they decide maybe that was the wrong decision. Mm-hmm. I'd like to do that. What do they do at that point?
They can go on to the National Registry. They can go on to the Titusville Area Hospital site. They can talk with the CORE, and Brittany, jump in whenever you have an idea. But you can always go on and change your information. You can share with your families, because even if you haven't checked the box, if your families know that is what you want to do, then they can make that decision for you to say, yes, my loved one wanted to be an organ donor.
So, Brittany, tell us a little bit about CORE and your story.
Yes, so CORE is an organ procurement organization, and we are out of Fox Chapel in Pittsburgh. I started volunteering with them right after my transplant, but really where my story begins is when I was 9 years old. I had just pneumonia. I got it in the summer. Me and my brother had it at the same time. It was normal. So I went to the doctors, and they told me that they would want to see me in 2 weeks to get a chest x-ray. 2 weeks goes on, and I go to get that x-ray done, and they find out that my heart was enlarged. They saw it on the x-ray, but really didn't know anything else about it. So I went to a local doctor in Erie, because that's where I'm originally from, and they told me after a 3.5-hour doctor's appointment that I had restrictive cardiomyopathy. Now, I didn't really know what that was at the time, but it's where your heart stiffens up and it doesn't pump blood anymore, and it also increases in size. So really, they don't know where it comes from. Either I was born with it or a illness hit my heart at some point, but there's not really a cure for it either. I wasn't sick enough to be on the transplant list at that point in time, so it was kind of just my waiting period. So it was really hard on me and my family because I was so used to being active. I was a normal, healthy kid. I played tennis. I swam. Those were my favorite things to do.
And you were 9 years old?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And suddenly I found myself not being able to do those things. They pulled me out of like sports and activities, so I couldn't even participate in gym. And it was just really hard because I didn't know how sick I was. Because I had always had this, I didn't really think that I was sick. So
you didn't notice anything leading up to that?
No, because I thought that when I walked upstairs, I would get winded, or I was just used to always being tired, but I didn't know how unhealthy I actually was. So I went to go get a second opinion down in Children's Hospital in Pittsburgh. I started going every 3 months to Pittsburgh, every 3 months to Erie, and back and forth.
Oh, wow.
So it was really hard on my parents and me. I enjoyed not being in school, though. So, yeah, typical kid answer.
That's what I was gonna say.
But I would go down to Pittsburgh. So fast forward a couple years. I'm 11 now, and my doctor pulled my parents out of the room, and I always knew that, okay, if the doctors pull your parents out and they want to talk to them separately, maybe something's going to happen. So I was sitting in the waiting room, and my mom comes out, and she's in tears. My dad looks all upset, and they were like, okay, like, we're just got to go. We got to go into the car. We'll talk about it later. And I was like, guys, tell me what's going on. So they told me in the lobby of the hospital that I was going to be put on the transplant list. I was suddenly sick enough to then be waitlisted. So they said at the next appointment, which would be in 6 months, that I would start the paperwork in the lengthy process of being on the list. A lot of people just think that, oh, you're sick enough, you go on the list, but there's a lot of paperwork and evaluations that you have to go through. Things like meet with a psychologist, make sure you have a strong family support system to make sure you take your medicine on time and you stay healthy. So they were going to do this at my next appointment down in Pittsburgh. I didn't make it there. It was about 2 weeks later, and I was downstairs in my basement watching a movie with my parents, and I didn't really feel well. I started to get dizzy, and I felt like I was just getting sick, and I'm the person that I didn't want to worry my parents, so I didn't say anything. I should have, because when I want to walk up the stairs and go to bed, I actually collapsed and went into cardiac arrest.
Oh, my gosh.
So my parents ended up finding me. Luckily, my mom was right behind me, but I was transferred to Hammett Hospital in Erie, where one of my doctors met me there. And a typical April night in Erie, it was snowing too hard to transfer me down. So I drove in an ambulance all the way there. The only thing that I was super excited about was going in the helicopter. That didn't happen, but that's okay. Keep in mind, yes, I am 11 years old, and I had that mindset. But I think that actually helped me out because I didn't really know how sick I was. I woke up in the hospital the next morning. I was in the ICU. They told me that I couldn't leave until I received my transplant.
Wow.
And I was waitlisted that morning. I was put to the top of the status because I was so healthy, other than my heart was bad. So my doctors did a really good job in putting me at the top, doing all that paperwork. The nurses and doctors, I love them all. I still, I'm Facebook friends with most of them. And it's just really great because they made my stay feel like I wasn't in the hospital. It felt like I was in a hotel room. The nurses would come in and watch Dancing with the Stars with me at night. So they really did a good job in making sure that my stay was okay.
So how soon did you get your transplant then?
So I had a couple things going for me, and typically people wait longer than I did, but since I was at the top of the list and I had a larger chest capacity because my heart was so large that I actually received adult organ.
Oh, wow.
So I waited 10 days. which is a very short time. I've known people who have waited 3 months to 3 years, even passed away on the list as well. So it's a very lengthy process for some people. Luckily, that I was blessed with that kind of experience. But something about my donor, I write them every anniversary of my transplant and major holidays like Christmas. But I've never heard back, and that's okay. I understand that the grieving process is different for some people. And working with CORE, I meet a lot of other donor families, so I kind of just adopt them as my own donor family, and they adopt me as their recipient, but I still write them. I haven't heard back, but I know that he was 31 and he died of a massive brain aneurysm, so hopefully someday I might be able to hear back from them, but until then, it's okay too.
And so how long ago was that?
So I received my transplant in 2007. So it'll be my heart anniversary. It's kind of like my second birthday. Is May 4th. So it's coming up.
May the 4th be with you.
Yeah,
then.
exactly. It's also the Star Wars Day.
Yeah.
There you go.
Now, how much has changed, Barb? Because you hear about transplants and life expectancy, but it really has gotten better and better and better, hasn't it?
Yes, I think, yes, it has. And, we are part of CORE, and they serve Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and part of New York. And there are 6 transplant facilities in that region, Hammett being one that was added to the list 2 years ago?
Yeah, it's
about 2 years ago. So Hammett is now doing transplants, which they had never done before. Titusville Area Hospital, we do not have an opportunity typically for major organ donors simply because somebody that is that ill a lot of times is sent out of Titusville area prior to needing the services of CORE and being maintained. But we do have a lot of folks who donate and corneas, tissue, and just to give an idea of the things that can be donated, which has expanded: heart, lungs, kidney, liver, intestines, pancreas, corneas, tendons, valves, veins, skin, and bones. So anybody can be a donor, and that's what, somebody says, well, I think I'm too sick, or they wouldn't want my eyes because of this, or they wouldn't want this because of that. We encourage everybody to be a donor because you never know what may be able to be used by somebody. Maybe your skin, maybe your bones, maybe your organs aren't because you've had certain kinds of treatment, but we don't want to ever have somebody not sign up to be a donor because they don't think they can be. So anybody can be a donor. And the other thing I guess I wanted to touch on was there are a lot of myths out there as far as what happens. And a lot of people say, well, if I'm an organ donor, the doctors won't work to save my life because they know that somebody else can use my organs. That is not true at all. Every physician works very, very hard to save the life of someone if they encounter them. The organ transplant team and the physicians working that end are completely separate from the other folks. So that is never the case. And the other myth that you hear a lot is, well, my religion doesn't really believe in that. Also, not factual. Many major religions feel that is the best gift that anyone could give another person is the gift of life. So that's one thing that's out there. So we just want to encourage everyone to take the opportunity to impact a life. This is a living example. Brittany is a living example of what somebody can do, and their unselfishness has, made her life possible, and she is thriving and spreading the word about organ donation, and what could be better than that? If we can help somebody like that, what could be better than that?
You're watching the Morning Drill on Stream Television in Armstrong and listening to it on the Allegheny News Talk Sports Network. Obviously, Brittany, very passionate about this. Is that helpful, do you think, when you're sitting down with families and having this conversation?
Yeah, so I have volunteered since my transplant, and so I've grown up knowing the importance of organ donation, and a lot of people, they might know about it, but it's not something that a lot of people like to think about. It's typically one thing that you're presented at the DMV. Oh, do you want to become an organ donor? Do you not? But it's a really hard decision to make. And one of the things that I really stress is that make sure your family knows the decision and make sure you talk it over with them because you don't want to have to be put in that position and during that process. But one of the things that I do find often is that a lot of people fall into the myths and misconceptions about organ donation. And I just want people to understand that I'm healthy today because of an organ donor. I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't have had an opportunity to graduate middle school, to go to high school, to attend prom, to even graduate college. I've had almost 12 years of my life been able to live because of my donor, and I can't say thank you enough. So that's one of the things that I do today is I dedicate my life to organ donation because there's a lot of 114,000 people waiting on that waiting list.
Wow.
And I was once that one person. So if somebody had saved my life, I would want to do the same to them.
We just took our oldest to get his permit, and they had a list on the TV, if you're an organ donor. I forgot how many, like 80-some things they could take, or...
I'm sorry, say what?
I can't remember. It was a huge list, or you had mentioned some of them, Barb.
Well, and there are 8,000 men, women, and children in Pennsylvania alone waiting for organs, organ donations. So, and all of those people do not get them. So,
Wow.
One family is dealing with a tragedy, and then you have a second family dealing with a tragedy when maybe that second tragedy didn't have to happen if the first individual might have been a donor, and. Yes, it's a very, very difficult process. It's a very because you've got one family grieving, and the other family also is very much aware that something had to happen to somebody for me to be here. But how thankful that individual is, and we do have folks right in our own community who have been recipients of organs, and I think they are walking among us, and many people that we do not know are walking among us because of the generosity and the unselfishness of others.
Brittany, obviously the passion will continue with you. Is this something you want to continue doing with your life?
Oh, yeah. So I graduated in May from Seton Hill University in Greensburg with a communications degree. And I started an internship at CORE. I actually got hired on. And so this is one of the things that I love to do is go share the word about organ donation because all those people are waiting, and most of them might actually not be able to get an organ and have the chance that I've had. So it's just one of my biggest passions is to spread the word about organ donation and get that word out there.
And Barb, once again, it's as easy as talking with the folks at Titusville Area Hospital.
Yes, you can talk to the hospital. You can get on the website. The National Registry is there. You can sign up. Or if anybody has any questions or concerns, they can certainly give me a call at the hospital. And if I do not know the answer, I certainly will connect them with somebody at CORE who does know. They are very receptive to answering anyone's questions.
All right. Something else that's coming up, the big golf outing.
The golf outing.
Yeah, that's coming up Wednesday, May 29th. So save the date. But registration is what?
May the 1st,
May the 1st.
I believe. So please contact the hospital marketing. Holly can be contacted if you want to golf, if you want to be a sponsor. Anybody wants to participate in any way, please give Holly a call and reach out to her. I'm sure she will be happy to get you involved.
Registration 9:30 to 10:45. Shotgun start at 11, and that'll be held at Cross Creek Resort. Last year, the weather was absolutely beautiful for it, and lots of folks looking forward to it.
We'll keep our fingers crossed that the weather holds off.
You can just predict right now.
Oh, it's going to be a great day. Regardless of the weather, it's going to be a great day.
Save the date. That's coming up Wednesday, May 29th. The Titusville Area Hospital Golf Scramble, and lots of fun will be had that day. So contact Holly there. Well, quite a story, Brittany, and a lot of great information. Best of luck with your endeavors, and a lot of work to come, I would imagine, speaking with a lot of families and individuals about the importance of donating.
Yeah, thank you for having us, and it's very important to think about. So,
and if somebody wants to get a hold of CORE, should they go through the hospital, or can they call you? How's that work?
They can go through the hospital, or they can go to our website. It's core.org, or they can call in at 412-963-3550. So there's multiple ways to contact us, but we're always happy to answer questions and to sign people up as well.
Great. Well, thanks for joining us. Barb, what'd you learn today?
What did I learn today? That this is an amazing young lady who has been through a lot, and she has persevered. And so my hat is off to her because you think, and her family, because you think of the trauma and everything that went on. So my best wishes to.
Thank you.
Brittany, what'd you learn?
I learned that Titusville's awesome, and that people should sign up to become organ donors.
There you go. All right. Hey, thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you very much.